This is a diagram I made for you guys so we can get a little bit organized on the tasks that we need to complete. I don't do this for every project. I have this in my brain, but I thought it'd be easier for the purposes of teaching you guys if we had a visual diagram. You can certainly create a diagram like this if you want to. So I've got a lot of work to do on this survey the next 2 or 3 days. And so I needed a way to kind of organize that. Remember, I'm trying not to be overwhelmed. So I basically broke that into 3 categories. And I'm going to walk you through briefly each of the 3 categories and the type of tasks that are in the 3 categories. Hang on 1 second because I realize I got a typo here. Okay, so I've got the kind of core non-CAD tasks. We've got what we call base drawings, and we have what we call map sheets. Now, we organize our CAD drawings in a very specific, we have a very unique system for organizing our CAD drawings. We have at RH, we have what we call base drawings. Those get XREF'd into our sheet drawings. And that allows us to work on these sheet drawings and these other base drawings in parallel. That's one of the ways we are able to turn surveys around as quickly as we do. The other nice thing about that is it helps break big complicated jobs up into smaller tasks like this. It's another benefit of the system. So let's just briefly go over what I have to do here. So my non-CAD tasks, I need to do the POLTRIS, Preliminary Land Title Report Analysis Sheet. I'm going to do a separate video on that because we don't have one. I got to review the land descriptions for my subject parcels and the adjoiners. I got to do the site walk peer review. I have to do the UAV orthophoto. That's done now. That's why it's in green. We have a boundary line work drawing. So these are all our base drawings now. These are the drawings that get XREF'd into the sheet drawings. So we have our boundary line work. That's done, but I need to check it. The boundary anno drawing is done, but I have to change the scale. So there's a lot of work here. That's why it's in gray. We did the boundary, the building footprint, the building footprint line work drawing is done. We have the UAV orthophoto drawing done. The points drawing is done. This is not done yet. The topo anno, this should be gray. Sorry, I'll have to fix that. Okay, then we have on our map sheet. So I went through based on the sheets that were done and what I know about the alt. I figured out what sheets am I going to need for the final deliverable. I need a cover sheet. Cosette has that mostly complete. I need 3 boundary map sheets. That's where we show the boundary. I need an overall because I'm in a subdivision. I need to show some ties to the outside of the subdivision. We have 2 subject parcels here. So we have a map sheet for each. Then we have what we call our boundary feature callouts. That's where we call out all the features within 5 feet of the property line, which is required by the AltaSpec. So we'll have 2 of those, 1 for each subject parcel. We'll have the sheet for our building diagrams, which Cosette has mostly complete. And then we'll have 1 or 2 note sheets, which Cosette has laid out. I think the notes need to get cleaned up, but they're laid out. So this just helps me to visualize what I need to do. And what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to start over here on the base drawings. And I'm going to knock some of these out since they're almost done. I think I only have these 2 things that need to get done. This is mostly done. So I'm going to knock these two things out and we'll get this wrapped up. Then I'll jump back over here and I'll do this. I can get these 2 things done in a day, probably, or less than a day. Half a day maybe I'll get these things done. This will be the very last thing that gets done. So I'll get these done. I'll get the base drawings, the last 2 base drawings done, and then all I got to do is start pounding on these sheets. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start at the top and I'm going to just work my way down this list, right? If they're purple, Cosette has 90% of them done. There won't be a lot of work. I'll have some work when I get down here, but it won't be huge. So I'm just going to bird dog this thing. I'm going to just bird dog, start here, get this wrapped up, bird dog these sheets till this survey's done. So I thought that might help you guys. What I'll do, I'm not going to record it, but I'll go back into my Basecamp project and we'll add the missing tasks here to all up to these lists and add the tasks, and then I'm going to bird dog that. So hopefully this video helps some of you guys understand, how you can tackle a big project. If you're diving into a big project, you're feeling a little overwhelmed, right? First step, you got to kind of get a handle on what's been done, where you're at. Right? So I did that, went in, cleaned up the task list in our project management software. Then you got to evaluate what tasks need to get completed. And remember, you're trying to drive yourself towards a client deliverable. So what do I need to get done get to my client deliverable. You can organize that. Different projects are going to be organized in different ways, but I found a way to organize the tasks. I have my non-CAD tasks, I have my base drawings, I have my map sheets. That helped me a little bit get a handle on what needed to be done. I'm going to update that task list in our project management software, and I'm just going to start hammering on this. Hey guys, it's Landon from RH. I decided I'm going to try and flesh out this video set that I'm doing on how you can kind of tackle a big, complicated survey. It feels a little overwhelming. I managed to get my screen split here, so I have our project open in Basecamp, the to-do list part of our project. And then down below, I've got this diagram I made. So what I want to do in this video is just walk through these different major tasks in our 3 groups here for this project, and then make sure we have what we need in the to-do list. Okay, so we're going to start over here with the core non-CAD tasks. So we have our Poultice. We got to make sure that's in here. And we don't have it in here explicitly. It's implied in the right exception notes, but that could actually be considered another step. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a new task list. I'm going to call it core non-CAD tasks. And actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to call this boundary survey. Okay, so we're going to add, we'll add prepare Poultice. Okay, I'm going to assign myself to that task. That's what I'm trying to do the bulk of this. Okay, then this next item here, deed land description review, is also a part of the boundary resolution. I could call it the boundary resolution. So we're going to say, now we have to review more than one deed land description. So we're going to say review subject parcel land descriptions. Remember, there's 2 of them. So we have 2 parcels. And then we need to review the adjoiners. Review adjoiner parcel and descriptions. Adjoiner. Okay, and then we happen to be adjacent to some utility district right-of-way. So that deed won't be available through our normal channels. So I'm going to say we want to reach out for utility district deed and right-of-way maps. Those folks are pretty good. I think they'll get back to us fairly quickly. Okay, we've got the site walk, I think, is already in here in a different to-do list. So let's look. I'm going to pull this down below field crew. Let's see. The boundary research should go above. Oh, you know what? We do have the Poultice there. So I can delete it here. We had it under boundary research. Okay, let's make sure we have our site walk in here. Okay, don't see the sidewalk in the field crew. Yes. Okay, so we have our sidewalk here. Okay, so sidewalk's covered. UAV photos done. Boundary line work's done. Okay, boundary anno. We got to go look at this. Oh, we have that. We have that here. Boundary anno. It should say check and clean up. Sorry, check and clean up the boundary line work. That's done, but it needs, I'm just going to check it. I think it's done. I don't think it needs any changes. The boundary anno I have in gray because they finished it, but it's not at the right scale. I'm going to have to change the scale, so that'll need some edits. That's why I have it gray. So we've got it there. Building footprints is done, but I need to just clean it up a little bit. That's there. Okay, the points drawing is done, but we have the topo. We have the topo. I don't know that we're going to have line work, but we have the topo anno, which is the feature callouts. So I'm going to change this here. So we're going to say create feature callouts in topo anno drawing. I'm going to leave Cosette on there. She might end up helping me if I don't get this done tomorrow, Monday. Okay, so that covers everything in the base drawings list. So now we're going to move over to our map sheets. Now that's down here under Alta Map Drafting. Okay, so we have a couple things in here. Write table A notes, write exception notes, write boundary resolution notes, write surveyor notes. We have the building dimension sheet, which Cosette already did, so I'm going to check that. But we need these sheets. So we're going to say, we're going to add some new tasks. We're going to say the cover sheet is mostly done, so we're going to say check and clean up cover sheet. Okay, then we have our 3 boundary map sheets. So we're going to say check and clean. Nope, those need to be done. So we're going to say draft boundary map sheets. I'm going to just lump them all together. I could split those up, do one for each sheet. That makes me feel a little better when I check tasks off, but I think I can get it done fairly quickly, so I'm going to group them together. So that's going to cover those 3 sheets. Then we have our featured call-out sheets. Those will go fairly quick. They're not done yet, so we'll say draft boundary feature call-out. We'll have 2 sheets, one for each parcel. And then the last thing is our note sheet, which the ladies that were working on this have that mostly done. So we're just going to say check and clean up. And assign that to me. Okay, so now we have a Basecamp project to-do list that matches our understanding of the major tasks that need to be done. Now there may be some other minor items in here that need to get added, but most of what I need to do is here, and so I can just start hammering on this list. I will probably start at the top. I can't do this till the end, so I'll just start here. I need to get that Pultris done. I need to make sure there's no easements to Kogo. I've got the deeds to review. I'll probably do that tonight. And I'll just start hammering on this list from top to the bottom, one at a time, till this thing's done. So thanks for watching.